Hey, what's up guys? Alright, so I'm gonna do another tutorial since my last one just blew up. Thank you guys so much for that. It brought my channel a lot of attention, and I just happened to be dead at the time when I realized this potential I could have used. But anyways, I'm just gonna jump right back into this. So last time I went over a whole bunch of quote-unquote Vanos gaming type of edits, and I went over a big broad area of things, but today I'm gonna focus on subtitles, which is a very important part of funny moments these days, because it just brings up so much personality. It makes you read it easier, watch it easier, all that. So some of the things I'm going to go over is how to add the subtitles and edit the fonts and colors and shit, how to kind of caption the audio like frame by frame or like word by word, how to animate the text, how to export the video just so everyone will know, and how to like add a still picture and add the text and all that in there, and just some other stuff. So let's just jump right back into it. I will have each certain thing I just went over at a certain time. What's the word? Like time in the description. So if you just only want to hear one thing, just go check the description. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. Okay, so first of all, how to add the text. So on the newer Adobe Premiere, it's actually really nice. Let me go ahead and full screen it. You just go right down here, press type, and you just type in hoopla. Or if you are not in there, if you just press T, I think. Oh, hold on. Yeah, T. If you just press T, you can just type in some more hepla. I don't know what the fuck that means. Or if you don't have access to any of that, you can just go to graphics, new layer. Where is it? Hold on. It was in gray. There we go. New layer, text. There we go. New text layer. So, and I think on the older version, what you do is double click it or right click and then press edit. I don't remember exactly, but on here, you just press graphics and it takes you right on over eventually. Okay, so apparently my Adobe crashed. I have no idea why, but I went ahead and added hoopla, man. So I just want you guys to see how to do several things with this. So kind of highlight it first. You can change any kind of font you want. I use Impact. There is a way where you can add your own fonts into this, kind of like Photoshop. Not exactly sure how, because I've never done it myself, because I've never needed to, but that is possible if you're wanting that done. If you wanted to center like on the right part, align it to the left. I do it down the center usually. Use this bar to adjust how much. There's several other things here. You can see how far you want the paragraphs to be from each other. You can separate all the letters from each other, stuff like that. And let's say like if you just want man small, you can just highlight that and shrink it as much as you want. But the thing with this is animating. If you animate these, they will animate together. So if you guys wanted to animate like two separate words, just click out of that and add another text box right there. So bam. And then you just kind of move this one, and if you look down here at the bottom of the timeline, you see that there's two files. So yeah, so before we jump into animating the actual captions like live, I want to show you how to do that in the first place. So you go up here to Effect Controls, and maybe anywhere on your screen, but just find Effect Controls and highlight the one you want to move. If you want it to, I don't know, swing to the right, you can do position. I just kind of click all these at first. And let's say you want it to, if you want it very fast, if you press the little arrow keys, the bottom right, you can go frame by frame of your keyboard, bottom right of your keyboard. So you can go by frame. So if you want to do it like instantly where it's invisible, just go one frame and then mark it. So mine's going to be position. So that's how you set the keyframe for that one. And what should we do? You already do that? Yes. So the very next frame over, you want to just slide it all the way out of view, just like that. So as you can see, it'll be bam, and it's gone. To make that a little bit easier for you to like understand, I will make it a little bit longer. Okay, so for you to be able to animate live, I want you guys to understand how to just animate in the keyframe like timeline thing first of all. So first of all, let's say you wanted to move this word bam out of, just out of the way. You don't want it there anymore. let's say you go a few seconds. Oh, sorry, I already done it. Keyframe. Okay, set this back to 960, so we'll do that. So let's say after that, you want it to be gone. So go ahead and press this and this, and go ahead and press toggle animation on most of these. I don't really worry about anchor point or anti-flicker, but do it, and that's where it knows you want to animate it. Because if you just click out of this, then no matter where you adjust it, if you do 200 or 139, it'll stay 139. It won't change. So if you press scale, and let's say you want it to, I don't know, go a few seconds, and you want it to shrink. Bam. So now, after a few seconds, it'll shrink. Or if you wanted to slide out of the way, you press keyframe. So at this frame, you mark that. That means it's going to be exactly where you have it on the screen right now. And let's say if you wanted to slowly go out of view, let's say right at the end of the word, you just go towards the end of the word down here, and you just slide it off the screen. And it should slowly just slide off the screen. But if that's too slow for you, you can just go to your previous key mark. Actually, you want to go to the position one. And if that's too slow for you, you want to go to this one immediately after your keyframe. So you want it to shrink, and then when it starts moving, so you see how this one is the set one right now, right here. That's the one we're currently on. So just go 1 or 2 frames over by pressing your arrow keys, and just slide it all the way off the screen. So then if you want it to be off the screen instantly, it'll just disappear. See? Okay, so now let's start animating like captions and stuff. Okay, so I found a little clip that I could use some subtitles on real quick if I wanted to make this a funny moment. So just go on over here, and you see where he starts saying, "That's mine." He's gonna say, "That's my scar."
You motherfucker.
Go ahead and sit.
That's my scar, you motherfucker.
Okay, he's really angry. So zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see the audio. And for some reason, if this is not like showable for you, you can drag this and you make it bigger. So see how much it's a lot easier to see now. So that's where you start saying that. So what I do is I go over here, or you can press M, but you just add a marker. So he's gonna say that's my and he's gonna start saying scar right there. You can hear the beginning of the word. So what you want to do is, and there's a big problem here you have to be careful with, because I do it all the time when I'm animating. Add a text. So he's gonna say that. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier, you can actually add an outer stroke. So let's say if you want to make it red, you gotta make it a little bit bigger. Oh, sorry, I didn't. Gotta highlight it first. Might be. So let's say we make it red, and then you want to make it kind of big so you can see. I always stick around 10 to 20. And then shadow is always kind of good too. It adds like a 3D field to it. It makes it look way more HD to me. So it's gonna say that. So if you wanted to shrink it, make it whatever size you want, go ahead. I'm just gonna put it right there in the middle of my screen. So he's gonna say that. And what you want to do is click out of this, because if you add another text box, then it'll be a problem because it's in the same thing. So they'll appear at the same time, but you don't want it to appear at the same time. Unless you do, then you can do that. But we're gonna go word from word. So that's. Oh, you also want to sync it up with the marker. That's the whole point of doing that. So go ahead and erase that. Press Control X so I can just paste it again. So click out of that, and then press the text box again, and then go back to the screen, and then post it. See how it created 2 separate files? That's what you want. So that's my. And you're gonna put it right over the other word. And that may not make sense, but once you guys see what I'm doing, you will understand. So do the same thing. That's my scar. And you can mess with any size font. You want to go small to big, big to small. For my sake, I'm gonna try to keep it about the same size as the other words. That's my scar. And you want to sync this up with the previous one. Now, what I do, you can do it several other ways, but I press C, which is the cutting tool, which is, oh, it's not on the screen. Oh, yeah, it is right here, the razor tool. And you cut at so this starts here, and the next word starts here, so you want to cut theirs because you don't want them overlapping. Same thing here. It starts right here and it ends right here. And then Scar will adjust that eventually, but we can just, for practice sakes, do it right there. And then click and drag, and then backspace. And then you'll see, he says, that's my Scar.
That's my Scar.
See? Pretty easy. Now, if you wanted to, if you wanted all the words to be on the screen after you completed the sentence, you could just do this. And then, drag it back up. Sorry. And you want to drag this out because you want them to stay on the screen after he says it. And then you don't want them overlapping in this sake. So, that's my Scar. Now the words aren't synced up very well, but, for practice sakes, that works.
That's my Scar.
See? Easy as that. Okay, so another thing that is very creative, and I think it's awesome to do, it does take a lot more time, which makes editing painful sometimes, especially messing with subtitles, but is when you animate the subtitles to fit over a moving object, if that makes sense. So the words move with the object. I think it looks great. I do it in my videos. I will post a little clips in the corner of the screen right now over my map. I think it just looks absolutely amazing. It shows depth, it shows animation, it's just very awesome. I love it. SovietWomble does it. I think Fitz does it a little bit. Mostly SovietWomble, he does it the most, I think, that I can think of off the top of my head. If you guys don't know him, he's just the master of subtitles and captions. That's what he's known for. I feel like he's really funny. Anyways, promotions aside, so this is what I'm gonna say in the video. No, you did not. Kind of voice crack there, but I said no, you did not. So we're gonna do the same thing that we just did, but wait, what do I say again? Okay, so I'm gonna add the entire sentence in one text box. No, you did not. Shrink it. Also, a little tip: try to make some kind of text colors different per person. That's just, I think it looks good. So Kelly earlier, he said that was my Scar or whatever, and his was outlined red. So let's do mine yellow now. It could be simple as that, or you can do the actual fill in and do the stroke the same color. But let's just make mine yellow. There you go. Maybe kind of hard to see. Yeah, that is actually kind of blinding. That's a bad idea. I'll just make it black. I'll just keep it simple. There you go. Okay, so another thing that looks good when you animate text, like I'm talking about, is when you add a little arrow so people know what you're supposed to be, what it's animating over. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. I know in the older version there's a triangle button in the text box. That one worked great. There's a little sideways right triangle. If you just rotate it 90 degrees, it looks good. But for my sakes, you can just use a V. So just press enter, type a V. It shouldn't be that squished. Separate it a little bit, and then you want to center it. Now that V is really big, and you don't really want the arrow to be that big, so just highlight the V and shrink it so it's just little, and you want to separate the sentence a little bit more. And I'm gonna shrink this whole thing a little bit more also. Bam. Now this is where it gets pretty painful when it comes to animating purposes. So frame by frame, or each time I move, pretty much, you want to come over here first and press this, because right here you can see this is where the text box starts, so that's where the animation is going to start. So you want to click it in the very first frame of the text, and you press the right arrow key, and pretty much every time I move, you want to keep it in the same position over my head. Right there it's not bad, but see how my head kind of moves right there? So you go to the frame before you're going to change it, because if you don't do this, it will, here I'll actually show you so why you don't want to do this. So I moved it, and see how the word's going to kind of float off to itself for a second. No, it's 2 frames. It's kind of hard to notice, but just trust me when I say go to the frame before you change. So So this is the frame you're going to change, so go to the one before and mark it, and then go to the frame and then move it a little bit, which I already did a second ago, and just keep going See right here, here's a big change. This is a lot easier one for me to explain. So go right here and mark it, and then go to the next frame and then put it back over my head. See, it did it again, but I already marked that one. So we're gonna go ahead and do it again. And if it goes off the screen, it's not that big of a deal. Honestly, I think it looks even better because it, like I said, it's the animation, the overlay, all that. It just looks good together. And I'm gonna keep doing this until the clip is done so you guys can fully understand why it looks good. Okay, so actually I'm doing this really hard. So what I do is I go frame by frame and I change these scales right here, these numbers, and that's how I adjust where the picture is. There's actually an easier way you can do it, which I'm not that experienced with, but if you double tap motion right here, you can change the animation of the text. So what you want to do is click down here and go to the next frame, and then click your text again, and then you can just physically move it. And see how it's kind of grayed out, it's not keyframed. Once you do, it should automatically do it. I think I did it wrong. Like I said, I'm not experienced with it. So now try it. Motion. There we go. See, now, so go press right arrow. Oh no, sorry. Click out of the motion box and then click the right arrow. See, you have to click that every time. That's why I don't do it. But if it is easier for you to physically adjust it, and then except for the numbers, like clicking this side by side, that is one way you can do it. I personally don't do that, but if it's easier for you, go right ahead. But yeah, I think this is done for the most part. So go ahead and don't do the motion so you can't see those little blue dots. There we go.
No, you did not.
See how that was kind of shitty. It started off weird, wonky. See right there, it's supposed to be over my head. So if you do notice where it's, see how it's not over my head right there, and you do notice that, just go to it and go ahead and fix it. And then go to the frame before and make sure that's also lined up. You may have to adjust it quite a bit if it does mess up like that. That's just how it works. See, I don't know why I did that. I must not have keyframed one frame perfectly, and it started adjusting all wonky like. There you go. So now it should be good.
No, you did not.
See, it stayed over my head, but when you want to end the caption after the words or sentence is done, just go ahead and cut, and bam.
No, you did not.
That wasn't the greatest example because it was off the screen, but you guys get the point. And if you guys may notice, you see how this is red right here? If you want to fix that, because sometimes it'll make the frame laggy, like the preview window. I've noticed it doesn't do that as much on the new Adobe, but it still does sometimes. Just come right up here to sequence, press render effects into out, and it'll render all your frames that are like changed and stuff, and then it'll go green.
No, you did not.
See? So it's nice and smooth. Okay, so I have one kind of final step for you. So this is how you kind of add a still image and then caption it and then go resume back to the video. So right here, shit, and people are rocketing up too. Oh shit, there's a pitch here. That's a clip I'm gonna use. So what you want to do is, shit, let's say I want to pause it right there. That'd be perfect. But if you want a certain image, just go frame by frame. So right there, and then cut it, and then drag this, and then move it out of the way for a second. Go one frame back, so because sometimes it'll be there, sometimes it'll be there, but go to the closest frame outside of the black or the cut, which is this one, and then press export frame. And you can name it whatever you want, and then format. I'm doing a JPEG. It's gonna go to my desktop, which is a mess. Don't pay attention to that. Clicky and draggy right here. Come on. My desktop is not agreeing with me. Oh, it's really not agreeing with me. Oh, there we go. That was weird. So it automatically does it for 7 seconds. It actually let's put this into the project bar. It actually went over my video. You don't want that to happen, so you might want to slide this out of the way quite a bit. I didn't realize how zoomed in I was. So scoochy, and then go grab it from wherever. It could be in your downloads file, whatever you want. Put it there. And in my previous tutorial, I showed you guys how to zoom in, but right here to say, it's gonna stop right there. That's all that is. It's just a picture. So let's say I just want to troll this dude and be like, call him a noob. So you want to keyframe again, and then if I want it to quickly zoom in, I would go about 15-20 frames. If I wanted to slowly like pan in, I'm gonna go about 50, which I'm just gonna go like right there, a second or so, and then scale in. This is how you zoom in, and this is how you scoochie over. Like I said before, this is probably a lot better way to do this. Not the subtitles, but still images. Go to motion, and then you can just move it however you want to him. And then maybe you want to just let it sit there, so it's going to zoom in, sit there for a second, and then let's animate some more text. So let's call him a noob with a stupid arrow right there. Bam. I kind of want that to be closer together. Noob. And make it a little bit bigger. So let's say you want to add the text coming out of the frame. So what you want to do is set these again and kind of line it up where you want it to be eventually. And then in that same frame, if you want it to come, I'm going to want it to come from the side, the way like this way, but you can have it, come this way. If you want to go up and down, use this side, but I'm going to have it come from the side. So the very beginning of the picture down here, slide it all the way off the screen. And then however long you want. So if I want it to instantly snap there, I'll just go one frame, and then bam, it's going to be there. So watch. Bam. So you didn't see much animation.